So breaking news in the last hour or so. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, is in labour. Hooray! Let's all cheer and celebrate and party on the streets. Isn't it wonderful news? Well, yes, I'm sure it is for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. For the taxpayer, however, it's not, because this is going to be another life of luxury paid for by us, out of our taxpayers' money. Money that could be going on hospitals, schools, on education, on firefighters, on police, on nurses, on all kinds of things that we actually need, that is actually essential to a thriving society. This money is going to be wasted bringing up a child in privilege, in luxury, when we have people using food banks. We have people on benefits having their benefits cut because they are deemed fit to work despite being terminally ill, despite having cancer or being disabled or having the mentality of a 3-year-old in many cases. Despite all that, we've got all these kind of things going on, all these problems with our society. We've got people who were born here being threatened with deportation. This is no joke. A man who was actually born here, who's actually never ever been abroad in his life, was threatened with deportation back to Uganda the other week. We've got people who have lived here 40, 50 years and worked their entire lives and paid taxes, who came over from the Commonwealth, from Jamaica and Barbados and places like that, who came over, who were invited over to work, and they came over and now they're being threatened with deportation. We've got nurses, again, using the food banks. Classes, sizes are being inflated ridiculously, so our teachers can't actually do their job effectively because they're focusing on many more kids than there should be. Kids going to school hungry, kids being given food at their school by their teachers who are paying for supplies as well as kids' foods out of their own pockets, who are having to fundraise just to get textbooks and pens and pencils and things for the kids to use in their class. All these cuts and austerity for the last 10 years. And we're now being told, yay, another royal baby that we have to pay for. Now don't get me wrong, it's not the baby's fault. It's not even Prince Harry's fault or Meghan Markle's fault or anyone's fault. If you're born into privilege, if you're born rich, that is not your fault. What is your fault is when you belong to a family that actively sells arms, actively profits off of arms sales, that drop bombs on the poorest people in the world. These arms manufacturers, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, etc., drop bombs on the poorest people on the planet. Your family is making money off of it. Why aren't you saying something? Even if you have no control over the profit your family makes from these bombs, why aren't you saying anything about it? Why are you just ignoring it? Prince Harry, of course, served in the Air Force and apparently flew around fighting the Taliban, fighting Al Qaeda in the Middle East, because nothing says democracy and freedom than, and peace. Nothing says that more than a prince shooting at some brown people from a helicopter. To paraphrase Frankie Boyle. Now, as I say, it's not the baby's fault. It's the system's fault, because they are prioritising these people who are born in luxury, who already have millions in private revenue, private income, private land. They could easily use that to fund their own baby's lifestyle. They could easily use that to support themselves, but instead they actually do things like try to claim from the state poverty fund to heat Buckingham Palace. They actually do things like claim on the taxpayer's expense for private flights around the world. They actually do these kind of things. They actually invest in arms companies that drop bombs on poor people. The royal family is despicable. And yes, you do get the odd one who's a decent human being. You do get some of them do have half decent traits, but by and large, their activities do not highlight these traits. Society needs to start focusing on helping out the poor man, the working class, rather than glorifying and giving essentially benefits to these people who already have millions of their own private revenue. The system needs to focus on that. Any cuts, any austerity, anything that needs to be taken away in order for our economy to survive needs to start coming from the top first. Because it's not only the royal family that do it, it's the politicians who claim ridiculous amounts of money for lunch. Ian Luncan Smith once claimed about £2,000 for a lunch or something, I think it was. You had MPs claiming for hobnobs and paper clips. And then on the other end of the extremes, you've got second houses being claimed for. Eric Pickles claimed for a second house, and then when questioned about it, said that he doesn't live that close to Westminster, so in order to make it for 8 o'clock in the morning, he would have to leave his first house at about 6 in the morning. Oh, you mean like someone who actually has a job and actually has to commute. So top cuts and austerity and cutbacks and things that, you know, tightening of belts needs to come from the top down, not the bottom up. Because whenever there's some cuts that need to be made, it's always from schools, from fire engines, from, you know, police forces, from things like that. It's never ever from them down. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.